Welcome back to the Coins Numismatic series, where everyday coins turn into fascinating pieces of history and hidden value. Today, we're diving into something many collectors overlook: dirty Washington quarters. These are coins that have spent years, sometimes decades, circulating through hands, pockets, and cash registers, picking up wear, grime, and character along the way. In this video, we're exploring a powerful lineup of quarters. Top 5 Washington quarters, all in circulated or dirty condition. These coins span different eras of U.S. coinage, from the early clad transition period of the 1960s to the more modern circulation coins of the late 20th century. Each one tells a unique story about American history, minting changes, and everyday use in commerce. 1988, P. Washington quarter dollar coin dirty condition. Moving forward in our numismatic series, we now examine the 1988 P. Washington quarter in dirty condition, a more modern coin that reflects the continued evolution of U.S. circulating coinage in the late 20th century. While a worn and dirt-covered 1988 P quarter may appear unremarkable at first glance, it remains an important part of the Washington quarter series and offers valuable insights into circulation patterns, mint production, and collector interest during this period. The historical context of the 1988 P. Washington quarter lies within the established clad coinage system that had been in place since the mid-1960s. By the late 1980s, the U.S. Mint had fully stabilized its production processes, and quarters were consistently struck in copper-nickel clad composition. The 1988 P quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the P mint mark located on the obverse of the coin near the date. By this time, mint marks had been reinstated in 1968, allowing collectors to distinguish between coins produced at different mint facilities. The design of the 1988 P. Washington quarter remains faithful to the classic Washington quarter design. The obverse features George Washington's portrait facing left, accompanied by the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date, 1988, along with the P mint mark. The reverse continues to display the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by the inscriptions "United States of America," "Quarter Dollar," and "E Pluribus Unum." In dirty or heavily circulated condition, the coin may show significant wear, with the finer details of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers becoming less defined. Dirt, oxidation, and surface grime can also accumulate in recessed areas, giving the coin a darker or uneven appearance. The mintage of the 1988 P. Washington quarter was substantial, as quarters remained a widely used denomination in everyday transactions. Coins from this period were produced in large quantities to ensure adequate supply for commerce, vending machines, and general circulation. As a result, the 1988 P quarter is considered a common coin in circulated condition. Dirty examples are frequently encountered in pocket change, coin jars, and bulk accumulations, reflecting years of handling and circulation. In terms of market value, the 1988 P. Washington quarter in dirty condition typically holds a value close to its face value of 25 cents. Circulated coins from this era are abundant, and most do not command significant premiums unless they are in exceptional condition or exhibit unusual characteristics. However, certain factors can enhance value, particularly the presence of mint errors or notable varieties. Error types that may be found on 1988 P quarters include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, strike doubling, and misaligned dies. While not common, such errors can add collector appeal and increase the value of a coin beyond its standard circulated worth. Collector interest in the 1988 P. Washington quarter is generally centered around completing date and mint mark sets of the Washington quarter series. Many collectors seek examples from each year and mint, and circulated coins in dirty condition are often used as affordable additions to these sets. While uncirculated or proof specimens are more desirable for high-grade collections, circulated coins still play an important role in building complete and accessible collections. Additionally, some collectors appreciate worn coins for their authenticity and the evidence of real-world circulation they carry. Even in dirty condition, collectors evaluate the 1988 P quarter for strike quality, luster remnants, and edge characteristics. The clad composition includes a visible copper core at the edge of the coin, which appears as a distinct stripe between the outer layers of copper nickel. This feature helps confirm authenticity and is often used as a quick visual identifier. Despite surface dirt and wear, the structural integrity of the coin usually remains intact, allowing for accurate identification of its type and mint origin. In summary, the 1988 P. Washington quarter in dirty condition may not stand out in terms of rarity or value, but it remains a relevant and collectible piece within the Washington quarter series. Its role as a commonly circulated coin from the late 20th century, combined with the possibility of mint errors and its place in complete date and mint collections, ensures that it continues to attract attention from collectors. Even in worn and dirty condition, this coin represents a small but meaningful part of modern U.S. coinage history. 1996 D. Washington quarter dollar coin dirty condition. Wrapping up this segment of the numismatic series, we now turn to the 1996 D. Washington quarter in dirty condition, a modern circulation coin that still holds significance for collectors and enthusiasts of U.S. coinage. At first glance, a worn and dirt-covered 1996 D quarter may seem like just another common pocket coin. However, when examined closely, it represents a continuation of the long-standing Washington quarter series and reflects the production standards and circulation patterns of the mid-1990s. The historical context of the 1996 D. Washington quarter is rooted in the stable era of clad coinage that followed the transition away from silver in 1965. By the 1990s, the U.S. Mint had refined its production processes, and quarters were consistently struck using a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper nickel. The 1996 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark located on the obverse near the date. During this period, quarters were widely used in everyday transactions, including vending machines, parking meters, and general commerce, ensuring high production levels to meet demand. The design of the 1996 D. Washington quarter follows the classic Washington quarter design created by John Flanagan. On the obverse, the coin features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, with inscriptions including Liberty, In God We Trust, the date 1996, and the D mint mark. On the reverse, the coin displays the iconic heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, holding arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, and E pluribus unum. In dirty or heavily circulated condition, these design elements may appear worn, with reduced sharpness in Washington's facial features and the eagle's feathers. Dirt accumulation in recessed areas can further obscure fine details, giving the coin a darker or uneven appearance. The mintage of the 1996 D. Washington quarter was significant, as the Denver Mint produced large quantities to support nationwide circulation. Coins from this year are considered common, and many have been heavily circulated over time. Dirty examples are often found in change, storage containers, or old collections where coins have been exposed to environmental elements such as dust, moisture, and handling oils. Over time, these factors contribute to the coin's worn appearance and loss of original luster. In terms of market value, the 1996 D. Washington quarter in dirty condition generally remains at or near its face value of 25 cents. Due to its high mintage and widespread availability, circulated examples do not typically command premiums unless they are in unusually good condition or possess unique characteristics. However, collector value can increase significantly if the coin exhibits mint errors or notable varieties. Possible errors for this issue include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, double dies, and strike-through errors. While such errors are not common, they are actively sought after by collectors and can elevate the value of a coin even if it is in dirty or worn condition. Collector interest in the 1996 D. Washington quarter is primarily driven by its inclusion in complete Washington quarter sets. Many collectors aim to assemble a full run of quarters by date and mint mark, making the 1996 D an essential component of such collections. Circulated coins in dirty condition are often used as affordable placeholders, especially for beginners who are building collections without investing in high-grade specimens. Advanced collectors, on the other hand, may seek uncirculated or specially graded examples, but circulated coins still play a role in documenting the coin's circulation history. Even in dirty condition, the 1996 D quarter can be examined for certain identifying features. The edge of the coin should display the clad structure, with a visible copper stripe sandwiched between the outer copper-nickel layers. This feature helps confirm authenticity and composition. Additionally, collectors may assess the coin's strike quality, looking for areas where details remain visible despite wear. The presence of the D mint mark is also a key identifying characteristic, indicating production at the Denver Mint. Another aspect of collector interest lies in the broader context of the 1990s Washington Quarter series. While this coin itself is not rare, it contributes to a complete understanding of U.S. circulating coinage during a period of economic stability and high production output. Dirty examples, in particular, often tell a story of extensive circulation, representing the coin's journey through everyday transactions over many years. In summary, the 1996 D Washington Quarter in dirty condition may not appear valuable at first glance, but it remains a meaningful piece within the Washington Quarter series. Its widespread availability, role in circulation, and potential for mint errors ensure that it continues to attract interest from collectors of all levels. While its monetary value in worn condition is typically limited to face value, its importance lies in its place within a complete set and its representation of modern U.S. coinage history. The 1965 Washington Quarter, especially when found in dirty, circulated condition. At first glance, a heavily worn and dirt-covered quarter may seem insignificant, something easily overlooked in pocket change or old coin jars. However, the 1965 Washington Quarter represents a major turning point in American coinage, and even in rough condition, it carries both historical and collector interest that continues to attract attention. To understand the importance of the 1965 Washington Quarter, we must look at the historical context. Prior to 1965, U.S. quarters were struck in a silver composition, specifically 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to rising silver prices and widespread hoarding of silver coins by the public, the U.S. Mint faced a significant shortage of circulating coinage in the early 1960s. This led to a major legislative change, and in 1965, the United States transitioned quarters from silver to a copper-nickel clad composition. The 1965 quarter was among the first of these new clad issues, marking the end of an era and the beginning of modern coinage. The design of the 1965 Washington Quarter remains consistent with earlier Washington quarters, featuring the profile of George Washington on the obverse, originally designed by John Flanagan. The inscriptions include Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1965. On the reverse, the coin features a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. The inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar are also present, along with the motto E Pluribus Unum. In dirty or heavily circulated condition, these design elements may appear faint, with details softened due to wear, grime accumulation, or environmental exposure. Despite this, collectors still examine these coins carefully for remaining detail, minting characteristics, and possible anomalies. The mintage of the 1965 Washington Quarter was extremely high, as the U.S. Mint produced massive quantities to meet circulation demand during the coin shortage crisis. This large mintage means that the coin is not rare in terms of availability. However, finding examples in uncirculated condition is more desirable than those in worn or dirty condition. Still, circulated examples remain widely collected due to their historical significance rather than scarcity. Dirty examples, in particular, often come from long-term circulation, storage in soil, or exposure to moisture and contaminants, which gives them a darker or uneven appearance. In terms of market value, the 1965 Washington Quarter in dirty or heavily circulated condition typically holds a value close to its face value of 25 cents. However, certain factors can increase its worth. Coins with sharper details despite circulation, or those that retain better than average surfaces, may attract modest premiums from collectors who are assembling complete date sets. Additionally, error coins and varieties can significantly increase value. While most 1965 quarters are common, some may exhibit striking errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, doubled die features, or misaligned dies. These errors, if clearly visible and verified, can make even a dirty coin more desirable and potentially worth several dollars or more depending on the severity and rarity of the error. Collector interest in the 1965 Washington quarter is primarily driven by its place in history as the first clad quarter. Many numismatists view it as a transitional coin that marks a shift in U.S. monetary policy. While dirty or worn examples are not typically high-value items, they are still important for beginners building collections, as well as for experienced collectors aiming to complete full-date and mint-mark runs. Some collectors also appreciate circulated coins for their authenticity and the story they represent, as each mark and layer of dirt reflects years of handling and circulation. Even in dirty condition, the 1965 Washington quarter can still be carefully examined for minting details. Because mint marks were not used on quarters during this year, the mint eliminated mint marks temporarily from 1965 to 1967. Collectors focus more on overall condition, strike quality, and any visible anomalies. The absence of a mint mark itself is a key identifying feature of this transitional period. In conclusion, while the 1965 Washington quarter in dirty condition may not appear valuable at first glance, it remains an essential piece of U.S. coinage history. Its role in the shift from silver to clad composition, combined with its massive circulation and potential for error varieties, ensures its continued relevance among collectors. Whether found in a coin jar, inherited collection, or pocket change, this coin represents more than just face value. It represents a pivotal moment in American minting history. 1966 Washington quarter dollar coin dirty condition. Continuing with our exploration in the numismatic series, we now turn our attention to the 1966 Washington quarter in dirty condition, another important coin from the early clad era of United States coinage. At first sight, a worn and dirt-covered 1966 quarter might seem like a common piece with little significance. However, like its predecessor, the 1966 issue carries historical importance and remains a subject of interest for collectors who study transitional coinage and circulation history. The historical background of the 1966 Washington quarter is closely tied to the same monetary reforms that introduced the clad coinage system in 1965. By 1966, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned away from silver quarters, continuing production with the copper-nickel clad composition. This change was implemented to conserve silver reserves and ensure that coins remained in active circulation rather than being hoarded for their metal content. The 1966 quarter is part of this early generation of clad coins, making it a continuation of the new standard that replaced the silver quarter. The design of the 1966 Washington quarter remains unchanged from the classic Washington quarter design. The obverse features the portrait of George Washington, a tribute to the first president of the United States. The inscriptions, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date, 1966, are clearly placed around the portrait. On the reverse, the coin displays a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, holding arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing military strength and peace. The inscriptions "United States of America," "Quarter Dollar," and "E Pluribus Unum" complete the reverse design. In dirty or heavily circulated condition, these design elements may appear worn down, with details such as feathers on the eagle or Washington's hair less distinct due to prolonged use. The mintage of the 1966 Washington quarter was also substantial, as the U.S. Mint continued producing large quantities to meet the demand for circulating coinage. Like the 1965 issue, these coins were struck without mint marks, as mint marks were not reinstated until 1968. This absence of mint marks is an important identifying feature for collectors examining coins from this period. Dirty examples often originate from long-term circulation, where exposure to environmental factors such as dirt, oils, and oxidation contributes to their worn appearance. These coins may have passed through countless hands before being set aside or saved. In terms of market value, the 1966 Washington quarter in dirty condition typically holds a value close to face value. However, collector interest can elevate certain specimens above their nominal worth. Coins that retain clearer details despite wear, or those that display unusual characteristics, may be slightly more desirable. While most circulated examples are common, error coins from this year can attract attention. Potential errors include off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, and planchet issues. Even in dirty condition, if such an error is visible and authenticated, it can increase the coin's value significantly compared to a standard circulated example. Collector interest in the 1966 Washington Quarter is similar to that of the 1965 issue, largely centered around its role in the early clad era. For many collectors, assembling a complete set of Washington Quarters includes acquiring examples from each year, including circulated or dirty coins as placeholders or study pieces. These coins also appeal to those who appreciate the evolution of U.S. currency and the historical context behind the shift from precious metal coinage to base metal compositions. Even in dirty condition, collectors often examine 1966 quarters for strike quality, surface preservation, and any distinguishing features. The coin's composition, consisting of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core, can sometimes be observed along the edges, which may show a copper stripe. This feature helps confirm authenticity and composition. Despite the wear, the structural integrity of the coin usually remains intact, allowing collectors to identify key attributes even on heavily circulated examples. In summary, the 1966 Washington Quarter in dirty condition is more than just a worn piece of currency. It is a representative of a transformative period in U.S. coinage history. While its monetary value in circulated condition may be minimal, its historical importance, widespread availability, and potential for error varieties make it a meaningful addition to any collection. For collectors and enthusiasts alike, this coin serves as a reminder of the changes in American monetary policy and the enduring legacy of the Washington Quarter series. 1967 Washington Quarter Dollar Coin Dirty Condition. Continuing our journey through the numismatic series, the 1967 Washington Quarter in dirty condition stands as another important piece from the early clad era of U.S. coinage. At first glance, a heavily circulated and dirt-covered 1967 quarter may appear ordinary, but it carries significant historical relevance due to the unique monetary policies of its time. For collectors, even a worn example of this coin provides insight into a transitional period in American coin production, making it far more interesting than its surface condition might suggest. The historical context of the 1967 Washington Quarter is closely tied to the continuation of the clad coinage system introduced in 1965. By this time, the United States had fully moved away from silver quarters, and the mint was producing coins composed of a copper core bonded with outer layers of copper nickel. This transition was a direct response to the rising value of silver and the widespread hoarding of silver coins, which had created shortages in circulation. In 1967, the U.S. Mint also continued operating under restrictions that eliminated mint marks from coins produced between 1965 and 1967. As a result, all 1967 quarters lack mint marks, making them uniform in appearance regardless of where they were struck. The design of the 1967 Washington Quarter remains consistent with the long-standing Washington Quarter design created by John Flanagan. On the obverse, the coin features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, with inscriptions including Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1967. On the reverse, the design showcases a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, holding arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, and the national motto, E Pluribus Unum. In dirty or heavily circulated condition, these design elements may appear softened or partially obscured due to wear, grime, or environmental exposure, but the core design remains identifiable. The mintage of the 1967 Washington Quarter was extremely high, as the mint continued to produce large quantities to meet public demand for circulating coinage. Because mint marks were suspended during this period, all 1967 quarters appear identical in terms of mint origin. The lack of mint marks simplifies identification but also means collectors focus more on condition, strike quality, and any anomalies when evaluating these coins. Dirty examples typically come from long-term circulation, where exposure to dirt, oils, and handling causes discoloration and surface wear. Some coins may even exhibit a darkened or uneven tone due to storage in less than ideal environments. In terms of market value, the 1967 Washington quarter in dirty condition generally holds a value close to its face value of 25 cents. However, coins that are in better than average circulated condition or those with clear details may attract small premiums. The real value potential lies in error coins and unusual varieties. Examples of possible errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die clashes, and doubling. While not common, these errors can significantly increase the desirability and value of a coin, even if it is in dirty or worn condition. Collectors often inspect circulated coins carefully in search of such features, as they can transform an otherwise common coin into a collectible item. Collector interest in the 1967 Washington quarter is largely driven by its role as part of the transitional clad series and its place within the no-mint mark period. Many collectors include this coin in complete Washington quarter sets, and circulated examples are often used as placeholders or study pieces. Despite its common availability, the coin remains important for understanding the evolution of U.S. coinage during the mid-20th century. Dirty or worn examples are especially valued by beginners who are assembling affordable collections, as well as by advanced collectors who appreciate coins with circulation history. Even in dirty condition, collectors examine the 1967 quarter for subtle details such as strike sharpness, edge appearance, and surface integrity. The edge of the coin should display a reeded pattern along with a visible copper stripe in clad coins, confirming its composition. Although dirt and wear may obscure finer design elements, the overall structure of the coin typically remains intact, allowing for accurate identification and evaluation. In conclusion, the 1967 Washington quarter in dirty condition represents more than just a heavily circulated coin. It is a product of a significant era in U.S. monetary history, reflecting the continued adaptation of the coinage system following the removal of silver content. While its monetary value in worn condition is minimal, its historical context, widespread availability, and potential for error varieties ensure its continued relevance among collectors. For anyone studying Washington quarters, the 1967 issue serves as a key example of mid-series clad coinage and remains a staple in many collections.